Hey, check 1, 2. Hey, Val Ash Howe Porter. Hello, hello. Multiple names. Just checking the audio here. Hey, check 1, 2. Yeah. All right. So if you're new here, welcome. I just want to let you know that below the video where you're watching, if you're watching the big video, when you scroll down the screen, I guess if you're on mobile, it's hard to see the difference, but there's today's video is usually bigger. And just below that is a chat that you can use. If you'd like, you can interact and ask me any questions, say hello, where you're from, and just whatever. Yeah, cool. Shared account, yes. Hello, Jenny. Nice to see you here. Welcome, welcome. So you can use that chat either now and say hello, or you can use it, if you have a question in the middle of the class, feel free to use that. Of course, if you're not watching this live, then the chat's over. So there's no, I don't think you can use it after that. Hey, Marissa, welcome. Nice to have you here. And we're gonna get started. Hey, Andriana. No worries. Hopefully you all had a chance to take a look at the blog video, 3 ways of sitting for meditation. I don't recall if in that, I think I do show using a chair, but seated in a chair is one of the best ways to meditate because it's what our body is most accustomed to, most used to, which means that we're likely to be able to sit without having to worry about the distractions of our physical body. We do it all day long pretty much, right? We sit in a chair, most of us. So seated on a chair with feet on the ground, or one thing is if you sit on the edge of a chair and you can't get your feet like fully on the ground without your knees below your hips because your chair is too high, then you could always put blocks under your feet. And now where that will really come into play is if you're sitting on like a hardwood chair and you put, say, a pillow or blankets on top of the hardwood chair to soften it for your buttocks. Now your hips are up higher, but your knees are still lower. So we want our knees relatively level with the hips. And the reason for that is the hips go down lower, you're gonna start to put pressure in the back of your hamstring and you might cut off circulation there or kind of choke the nerve and your feet will fall asleep. So you want your thigh bones to be parallel with the ground. So in that case, if you're putting a cushion under your chair, use blocks. Again, I sit in Virasana when I meditate, pelvis on block or 2. And, I'm always looking for, and that's not all the time. Sometimes I feel more comfortable in a cross-legged seat or Siddhasana, which is a posture like this. But this only happens for me when my hips are really open. And I don't want to be like, this is the thing, a lot of people think there's like a divine meditation seat. Nothing happens if you're in lotus pose. Like nothing different happens than if you're sitting on a chair, because there's no physical posture that's going to open up the channels of the mind. It's like your mind is already what it is, okay? So like the chaos of the mind is gonna be there regardless of what your legs look like. And so my suggestion is to choose the posture for which you can physically sustain the longest. All right, just take a quick look at the chat. Hey Nina, welcome. Petra, nice to see you. Alberto, nice to see you. And Petty, nice to see you as well. All right, so, and no worries about being late. I'm on time today, which is, a little bit different for me. So the last class, real quick note, the meditation got cut out from the audio. I apologize for that. I have filmed the class, but I have not uploaded it yet. Sorry, the meditation portion. So when I complete this, I will make sure I get the video of the first meditation to you. So all we did, and I'll just recap that since you have not watched it if you're watching this live. If you're watching this later on, of course, you've seen the full first video. I'm going to actually give you the full first video, and I'll just splice in the meditation, okay? But I'll also put in our Facebook group, I'll put in the meditation separately from the full video, just so you have some other option there, okay? That you can practice the meditation separately from the actual course, so you don't have to do the full class. All right. So for today's practice, to review the meditation we went over that no one really got if you're watching this live, we did a 3-part breath. And that consists of, on the inhale, letting the belly expand outwards. So that means your diaphragm, the muscle that creates a vacuum that pulls air in, the diaphragm will push down on the initiation of the inhale. So just have your hands on your belly and let's recap that. The belly pushes out. When you exhale, the belly draws back in. A lot of people have reversed their breathing, so just see if you can do that. Inhale, belly goes out, exhale, belly goes in. Inhale, belly goes out, exhale, belly goes in. Now you hear this little sound of a whisper coming through my nose. This is called Ujjayi breath. It happens throughout the entire asana practice, the physical practice of yoga. And we, in physical practice of yoga, more often than not, the belly is drawn in the entire time and the breathing is now thoracic. So you can see how my hands move apart on the inhale now. It's because my ribs are pushing outward side to side. On the inhalation, exhale, the ribs close, they draw inward. So this thoracic breathing requires flexibility of the muscles between the ribs. That's the second of the 3-part breath. And then lastly, you'll notice if I don't do anything to hinder this, you see the shoulders and the collarbones lift up at the top of the breath. Okay, that's the clavicular breathing. Now, the 3-part yogic breath starts in the belly, goes to the ribs, goes to the collarbones, and then exhale, the collarbones relax, the ribs relax, the belly pulls back, okay? So that 3-part breath, Dirga Pranayama is the name of it. We're gonna be doing that again, since we didn't do it last time for most of you watching live, as our pranayama towards the end. I just wanted to give you the techniques now while I have your attention. Okay, so we'll do it one time together. Inhale, the belly goes out. Keep inhaling, the ribs go out. Keep inhaling, let the shoulders go up. Exhale, let the shoulders go down. Ribs come inward. Belly goes back. That's a full round of Dirga Pranayama. Okay, so that's the pranayama we'll be using to go into our meditation today. Recap on what we talked about last time, this practice of tapas. So there is a sutra, a yoga sutra. Basically, the yoga sutras are a compilation of how to practice yoga. It's a guidebook to this idea of samadhi. Samadhi is the state of oneness where the duality of our existence dissolves into this universal state that some yogis would call samadhi. Some would say is just the experience of the mind being fully absorbed in the now. There's multiple ways of saying it. Essentially, the time and space seems to go away, and maybe we're shutting off those parts of our brain. But what happens is the duality of our intellect, which is called the buddhi. The intellect is a part of the mind that allows us to judge, decipher. It has the whole right and wrong idea. The buddhi also has this magnificent ability to actually turn inward and use our intelligence to experience the deeper sides of ourselves rather than constantly judging the outside world, high, low, right, wrong, good, bad, rather than using our intellect to kind of collect data about the outside world. The buddhi can also turn inward like a mirror and reflect what's going on inside. And what I mean by inside is the deepest layer or the core of our being. By the way, I put this blog out this morning. You probably received it in the mail, called The 6 Layers of Our Self. So the 6-layered self is like the onion. Think of your existence as an onion. Of course, not really literally, but layers, okay? So the outermost layer is our stuff called vastu. It's like the identifications that we might have with this laptop and the things that are surrounding me, like my block is my stuff. This is my stuff, okay? Then we have the physical body, for which we use the asana practice, which we're going to get into in just a second, to develop awareness of. Then we go a next layer deeper, and according to yogis, it's the mind. So that's heart-mind, meaning thoughts and emotions. It's our processing system of how we experience the world. Go one layer deeper than that, we've got prana, which is our energetic layer. Okay, so as we go deeper, we get towards the core of our being. Eventually we get to this place called awareness or consciousness. The yogis call it chit, C-I-T, pronounced chit. Okay, chit is this conscious pulse of energy that is within all of us. It's at the core of us, and every layer that is the deepest layers permeate all the superficial layers. So chit, consciousness or awareness, is within all of the other layers. That's correct. Consciousness is within this block, right? So the tantric way of saying, in some yogic philosophies, they would say, this is an illusion, get rid of it, okay? They would say it's an illusion. Now, that's a different concept than Tantra says, this is consciousness in the form of block, okay? Which is much different because it gives magnificence to this creation versus saying that this is garbage, throw it away. So when we say consciousness takes form, we don't assign necessarily a good or bad, as I kind of just indicated. It just, consciousness is taking form in multiple ways, in the form of physical body, in the form of thoughts, or in the form of emotion. Consciousness can take form in the form of energy, prana, the flow of are you feeling tired? Are you feeling awake right now? Are you feeling vibrant? Are you feeling excited? Well, excited is more emotional, but there is energy inside of our system governing, we call it in science, autonomic nervous system. We have 2 sides of our energy system. We have parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, calming, and we have sympathetic, which is rise. Like, you can hear my energy is more in the sympathetic right now. My eyes are lit up, my words are faster. If I was more in parasympathetic, which you'll hear later when we get into meditation, the voice would calm down. My energy would be more grounded, okay? So there are 2 different sides of the nervous system, and what we're striving to do is find balance between these nervous systems so that we can be in the most focused state of mind, and at the same time calm enough that we can be here now in this present moment, okay? That is what the yogis are calling samadhi, this place of oneness, where the 2 sides of the nervous system are in perfect balance and you can just be in this present moment. Now, consciousness, or this deep state of chit, which is also known as awareness with a capital A, awareness itself, is the goal of tantric yoga, where the goal might be in Patanjali's yoga, which is what I kind of flip-flop back and forth, is the state of samadhi, that state of oneness. But in Tantra, that is not the goal. That is a tool to get to the ultimate goal, which is to realize that consciousness or awareness is pulsing through my entire existence, that I am a physical body taking form. I am consciousness in the form of physical body. I am consciousness in the form of the mind. I don't want to get too deep out here, but I do want to be thorough enough so that this makes sense to you. That consciousness is, I am a manifestation. The best or a really great analogy is that when light comes in through the atmosphere and hits a piece of glass, it fractals out into all these different colors. The light source itself, this is consciousness in this analogy. This is awareness in this analogy. Now, as it hits the atmosphere and maybe it hits water molecules and you get a rainbow, right? Or it hits a piece of glass and it fractals out into different colors of light. Each color is magnificently beautiful and unique. And that is who we are, unique expressions of this one light. Now, this is the teaching of Tantra, that this universal consciousness awareness is pulsing through all things. It doesn't mean that it is, I'm not my physical form. I am not like consciousness in its most, let's say, in its biggest potential, but I am a microcosm of the macrocosm. I am an expression of this macrocosm, of this big divine experience of this big divine whole. Okay, so now the journey of the tantric yogi is to get back to that awareness that we are awareness itself, to get back to the awareness that we are consciousness. In order to do that, we need to work our way through the layers of our being. Now, if you didn't watch that video, the 6-layered self, I highly recommend watching it because I don't have enough time to unfold all of this for us and do yoga and do pranayama and do meditation. It'll be very helpful if we watch that video. And then this will all make a lot more sense. So I want to get into the physical body. As we move through the layers, what we use is asana for the physical form. That's the 5th layer, okay? It's the outermost of our physical form. Okay? We use asana to become more aware, capital A, of our physical body. Awareness is at the center, physical body out here. We become aware that awareness is penetrating or permeating or animating the physical form. That's a good word. Okay, now we use pranayama as a breathwork practice for the pranic layer, the energy layer, to balance the nervous system. We use meditation to harness the focus and attention of the mind. And eventually we use observation to get down to that layer of chit, awareness, okay, or consciousness pulsing. Okay, so in that process, what I said last time was that tapas becomes part of the practice. That's the rigor. So it's all well and good that we want to practice these things and get through the layers, but you ever try to peel an onion without any effort? It doesn't happen. You need a really sharp knife, which is called the intellect, by the way, sharp tool to cut through the layers. But it takes effort. Getting through and purifying and cleaning anything takes effort. It might be exciting and joyful effort, right? But that's really about your mindset. So yoga teaches us to cultivate a mindset that embraces challenges. That's tapas, that's rigor, that's the intensity that the yogis ask us for. Okay, so let's get into our body and let's embrace the tapas just real quick. Yeah, nice to have you all here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful. Nina, Lara, ETZ, Tara, cool. All right, let's get rolling. Come to all fours, hands and knees, and grip the ground. Actually, I'm gonna move that back just a smidge so you can see my hands. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. So may we embrace the rigor of the practices, be it physical, mental, energetic. Tapas. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale and round. Inhale, arch, look up. Exhale, round.
Inhale, arch, look up.
Exhale, round.
Inhale, arch, look up.
Tuck the toes, down dog as you exhale. Hips up and back.
I'm practicing on my new Second Wind yoga mat today. Thanks to Second Wind. Big shout out to them for supporting the immersions. Feels good. Bend each knee, move the hips a little side to side. And maybe you can start to cultivate a bit of the mindset, not just tapas, but the mindset that I am awareness in the form of this physical body. And you start phrasing things like that. Okay, that's a stretch of my calves. You can say it like that. Or you could say, it's because I am aware that awareness is within me, that I can experience my calves stretching, your hamstrings stretching, right? You start to become more articulate with the way that you perceive life when you recognize or when you start to use the practice of mantra, which can be repetitive phrase. So I am awareness in the form of the body. I am awareness in the form of this stretch of this. This is, let's say, a sensation coming from the experience of awareness, however you want to phrase it. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Place the knees down, lower down, chaturanga.
3 lifts of the heart, small. Inhale, just warming up the back. Exhale.
Again, lift the heart.
Exhale.
One more. Inhale, lift the heart.
Exhale. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes. Exhale. Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog.
Right leg to the sky on the inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. One breath in. And out. Straighten the leg on the inhale. Right foot steps forward as you exhale. High up on the fingertips. Let's take a breath together. Exhale it out. Gather strength in your legs. Pull your feet toward each other. So we're very equipped, or I think a lot of us know that we have to embrace the rigor, physically speaking, in order to get stronger, okay? And that's the tapas in the physical layer. We also have to embrace that with our breath and our mind layers as well. But since we're practicing asana right now, let's get down to the physical. Press your right heel down. On the exhale, twist, turn the belly, turn the chest to the sky. Again, unwind, inhale, touch the earth. You can see my hips are rather up high, keep that. Exhale, twist, turn the belly, rib cage, shoulder, hand. Inhale, unwind, rib cage, chest, shoulder. Exhale. Inhale. Now as you exhale, turn the back heel down, right hand to the inside. Let's get set up with the legs. Move your pelvis and your groins back a little bit towards the back of the yoga mat. Sorry, not the back of the mat, side of the yoga mat. So turn your pelvis a little more. And when you do that, when you turn your tailbone to the side, your front knee is probably gonna come in a little bit. So here's where we're gonna work the strength of your front buttocks. Press or lift your front heel up for a moment, and then press or rotate the thigh bone outward while your torso
stays where it is. So don't bring your chest with the thigh, okay? So once you rotate the thigh bone outward, you're gonna probably feel that your back hip here is swaying forward. Don't let that happen. Keep your back hip back and rotate the leg out. Now, root down into your outer right heel, outer right heel. When I say root down, I mean press like crazy until you feel your glutes and your hamstrings fire up. Take a full breath in and out. Lift your back inner thigh up a little higher away from the ground, so this way. Push your right heel down. We're going to just target the buttocks today. One more breath in and out. Walk the hands to the front of the mat. Inhale to plank pose. Chaturanga, lower down. You can place the knees down anytime you'd like. Again, 3 breaths, lift the heart. Soften back down. This round, you're gonna lift the heart and hands if possible. Inhale, heart up, shoulders back, hands up. Exhale. Inhale, heart, hands, and feet maybe. Exhale. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Left leg to the sky on the in-breath. Bend knee, exhale, open hip. Enjoy a breath in. Straight leg, square hip. Step left foot forward. Coming up on the fingertips, take a breath in. Exhale it out. Now gather strength in the legs by pulling your 2 feet toward one another. Your hips will rise. Keeping that from your left sit bone, tuck slightly underneath, like move your buttocks. I'll show that without my hand. Okay, so rather than here, you're gonna scoop it a little underneath, then using that to press through your left heel. You'll feel your buttock fire up there. Let's take a breath in together. Use the exhale to turn your belly, chest, shoulder, hand. Unwind, inhale. Exhale, belly, chest, shoulder. Again. Exhale. Inhale. As you exhale, left hand to the inside of the foot, back heel comes down. I'll keep this camera angle for a second so you can see, instead of my pelvis pressing towards the wall here, I'm gonna move the pelvis back. So as a result, you're gonna see this knee comes in a little bit as my tailbone wags to the side wall. Now why that's happening is because as I turn my pelvis, it's taking the leg with, the pelvis is taking the leg with it. And what I want to do is develop strength of my buttock muscles here, the outer buttocks, the base of the buttocks, in order to manipulate or move my thigh bone independently of the pelvis. So that requires flexibility of the inner thighs, but strength of the outer buttocks in particular, and the glutes. Okay, so you're going to lift your left heel up and see if you can spin the thigh bone and knee out away from your torso. Okay, I'm exaggerating. The amount of range of motion that most of you are going to have is not this much. I'm just trying to really show you the directionality, okay? Now, the outer heel here, press it down into the ground. And when I say press, I don't mean sink, like just like fall into the ground so you feel more weight there. I mean press into it and your hips will lift up as a result. And you're gonna feel the whole outer line of your thigh fire up, okay? Keeping that, this is where we start to embrace the rigor, or we have to maybe learn to embrace the rigor, is where that discomfort starts to come in, okay? So that discomfort is really the beginnings of the tapas, of the intensity that we can embrace if we allow it. And that would be what the yogis are trying to convey to us, is that the path
of awakening to our potential is not like a straight, easy line. It requires a tremendous amount of effort and willingness to face the obstacles and challenges right in front of us. Okay, walk the hands back to the front, pivot the back heel up, step to plank on the next breath in, knees down, chaturanga. Okay, this round, interlace the hands behind the back, bend the elbows, and shrug your shoulders to your ears more. Okay, once you have them towards your ears, you're gonna have more range of motion to squeeze the elbows and shoulder blades toward each other. Try and keep that as you reach your hands to the sky, the best of your ability. It's okay if the heel of your hands aren't touching, just do your best. And on the next inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, release back down. Not all the way, almost down. Inhale, lift the heart up again. Lift the feet if you can. Exhale, feet back down, heart halfway down. Last time, hands up, heart up, feet up, look forward maybe. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Step forward as you exhale. Hands on the front thigh. Oh, I gotta turn off that. Sorry about that. Got the screen going. With your hands on your front thigh, the front knee over heel, just pull your feet toward each other until your hips lift up. And now let's find the buttocks of the front hip. So from your right sit bone, micro tuck a little bit. So you're gonna feel a little rounding of your spine, and that's okay. Now press your right heel down so you really feel an activation of your buttocks. Now at this point, you see how my torso, or my head, my torso, all the way through my back leg are kind of on one straight line, more or less. I'd like you to keep that. So don't sag your chest down and create curves. Just keep your front ribs in. Now, you're gonna roll your shoulders back and take your arms back on that same line. Okay, let's hold here, full breath in, full breath out. Remember a little tuck of the tail and really press down through the heels so you feel your front glutes fire up. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. 1 more, inhale. I bet you're feeling the tapas. Exhale, that heat, that rigor, the intensity. Rise up, high lunge, inhale. Open, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a yoga mat like these second wind mats with a line down the center, then you can align your front heel with the back arch. Okay, and you can, so your back arch straddles that line and your front heel is on that line. That, you know, there's no like magnificent divine alignment, but it helps you to understand where your legs are. So when you switch sides, you're not shifting your feet thinking that you're in one line. It's just a little bit helpful to activate your muscles this way. So the same idea, sway your hips back. So your tailbone is like as if you're gonna sit in a seat behind you. That's the idea, okay? That's gonna form a gentle arch of the low back, which we want, okay? You're gonna keep that. And now that front knee is probably winging in a little bit. Press the outer heel down. Show you from this angle. Press the outer heel down so the thigh bone rotates out, but don't send your pelvis forward. Keep it back and spin it out. Now at this point, you're feeling the heat, the intensity, the rigor already settling in. And that point is where you really want to settle into a rhythmic breathing. So 3 breaths. Calm the mind with your breath. 2 more. One more breath. Reverse warrior, inhale. Hands to the ground as you exhale. Pivot the back heel up, inhale, plank. Knees down, chaturanga. Now let's do 3-part cobra, hands wide, fingertips. Okay, let me scoot back just an inch here. Inhale, lift the front body up. Your feet can go wide, by the way. Exhale, shoulders back and front ribs sag. They sink forward so the base of your solar plexus melts towards the front of the mat. Okay, that's on the exhale. Then literally just pick your abdomen up towards your throat, stretching the belly, and that creates the last inhale. Exhale, release. I'm gonna lift my shirt up so you can see that last part. Okay, so watch, just watch for 1. Exhale. See how the ribs are pressing forward? Now, inhale. The abdomen is just pulling up towards my heart. Okay, but it's very long in the abdomen. See, the distance between my pubic bone and my solar plexus is very long versus this is just shortening and pushing into my low back. It doesn't feel good. Instead, I want to press the low ribs forward. Okay, so let's try 2 more rounds. Inhale, lift the front body up. Exhale, soften, low ribs forward, forward, forward. Stretch the abdomen towards your heart. Exhale, release. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, soften. Stretch the belly up. So no belly breathing on this, by the way. Exhale. Thoracic breathing only. Requires flexibility of the intercostal muscles, the muscles between the ribs. Come to all fours. Exhale, down dog. All right, let's invite the rigor of intensity that we just experienced on the right side to our left. Bring the left leg to the sky. Inhale. Step forward. Press through your left heel. Bring your hands to your front thigh. Okay, with the hands on the front thigh, find one long angle from basically the back heel to the head. One thing, by the way, I'm not sinking into my back foot and putting the weight back there, okay? I'm using my muscles so that they become more springful. They make my bones light rather than feeling heavy and making it easy on my muscles. I use the strength of my muscles to make my bones light, which means it's very intense. And that is the tapas of developing strength and flexibility in the physical body, building awareness especially. Wag your tail straight back and create a micro tuck. So left sit bone here at the base of the buttocks goes underneath slightly, and then a little rounding of the upper back. Okay, keeping that, press your left heel down until it feels like your hips are rising up a lot. Take the arms by your sides. We'll do 3 steady breaths. And when we do steady breathing like this, continue. This is initiating our pranayama, our breath work, our movement of energy through our system. I think I'm off of your breath, so just take 1 more. High lunge, rise up. Open up, warrior 2. Again, check in with your feet. Back arch straddles the line. Front heel is on the line. Wag your tail towards the side and you're gonna feel your front knee comes inward. Okay, now when you feel that, now's the time to activate your front buttocks. To do so, you gotta press your outer edge of your foot down. So one thing I like to do is lift the heel up for a moment and press and rotate the thigh bone out to the left and press the left outer heel down, okay? Now keeping that, make sure your back thigh bone didn't sway forward as a result. Keep the back thigh bone back and press the front heel down. So really firing up the glute muscles here, firing up the buttock muscles while keeping the groins back. There's a little arch in the low back. Now take the arms out to the sides.
And we embrace the tapas, the rigor, the heat, the intensity, as a recognition that we are getting stronger. We're purifying this physical layer. 2 more breaths. Or let's say we're getting more aware of our physical layer. Deha, by the way, is the name of it. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale to plank. Knees down, chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, fingertips. Inhale, lift the front body. Soften as you exhale. Stretch the abdomen up. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck toes, exhale, down dog. Let's flow right leg to the sky, inhale. Exhale, step forward. High lunge, rise up, inhale. Take your hands by your side, soar forward, exhale. Back to high lunge, inhale. 2 more times. Exhale, soar forward, arms back, ribs in, buttocks tucked. Inhale 1 more time. Exhale. High lunge, inhale. Warrior 2 as you exhale. Steady, even breath with the movement. Reverse warrior. Exhale, hands to the ground. Steady and even. Plank, inhale. Chaturanga. Hands wide. Inhale, lift the front body. Soften, exhale, ribs forward. Stretch the abdomen. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck toes. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward. High lunge, rise, inhale. Soar forward, exhale, buttocks tucked, pressing through the heel. Inhale, rise. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. Open up, Virabhadrasana 2. Reverse. Hands to the ground, slow. Plank. Chaturanga. Slide hands wide, fingertips. Inhale, lift. Soften, exhale. Stretch the belly long. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck toes, exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward as you exhale. High lunge on the in-breath. Open up, warrior 2. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle preparation, forearm to the thigh, hand on the hip, and pause here. Again, align your feet. Front heel bisects back arch. And see if you can sway your pelvis back. Now, just like the first posture we really aligned in the beginning, you're gonna press your front outer heel down and spin your right thigh out. Now, when most people do this, what happens is they press the thigh out and their back pelvis just goes with it. That's just turning the pelvis not necessarily moving the joints, the hip joints. So we want to move the pelvis and fix the pelvis. Now move the thigh bone, the front thigh bone, inside of the hip joint. So what you'll do is a little tuck of your right sit bone or tuck of your tailbone, and then press the right thigh out to the right. Now the tuck of the tailbone, it'll scoop the right buttocks underneath a bit. Let me just turn actually a little so you can see that. Okay, so pelvis back, that little tuck of the tailbone, not like super tuck or anything like that, just to initiate the rotation of the front thigh bone out to the right more. Okay, now slide your right hand down to the inside of the right foot. And you're probably saying, okay, I feel the tapas, I feel the heat, the intensity, let me get out of this. This is the point, as yogis will say, whether it's in the body, whether it's in your energy or your mind, regardless, this is the point where you have to stay with it. It is here for which we have the potential to get stronger. Turn your belly, turn your chest. Left hand to the sky. 2 more breaths only. One more breath. Okay, release the hands to the ground. This time you're going to pivot the back heel up and straighten through the front leg. Inhale, lengthen. That's going to feel delicious. Exhale and bow over your straight front leg. Let's hang out here. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. All right, bend the front knee. Right to down dog as you exhale. Plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga as you exhale. Slide hands and feet wide, inhale, lift front body. Soften. Stretch the belly. Release. All fours or plank. Down dog, exhale. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. Push down, rise, high lunge. Open warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Side angle preparation, forearm to the thigh, hand to the hip. Again, sway your pelvis back, tailbone back. With that, now your front knee's probably winging in because of the tension of your inner thigh, called your adductors. Now press, you can maybe lift the front heel up if it's possible, and use that lift to help rotate the thigh bone out. But be very cautious not to press the hips forward as a result. Keep the hips back and spin the thigh bone out into the hip socket, okay? So you really isolate the difference between your pelvis and your hip joint, okay? The pelvis is, the 2 sides of the ilium, big bones. The hip joint is where the thigh bone meets the ilium, and they can play with one another. They can move, the thigh bone can move inside of the ilium, and that's what makes it so exciting. So hips back and rotate the thigh out. Now, find your left buttocks, your left sit bone, press it into the ground, into your heel, so you feel the glute muscles fire up, okay? One of the magnificent things about asana is if we use it as an opportunity to get stronger in our body, it helps us literally to become stronger muscular in order to sit better, to stand better, to walk better, to feel better on a daily basis. But in order to do that, we have to face the rigor, the tapas, the challenges of the practice. We have to break down the muscle for it to get stronger. Slide your left hand down to the inside. Stay with it, turn your belly, turn your chest, and reach the right hand up. Only here for 2 more breaths. Keep it steady and even. Press your left outer heel down. 1 more breath. Release the hands to the ground. Very well. Turn the back heel up. Inhale, straighten through the front leg. Exhale and bow. Notice how amazing it feels. Now, this wouldn't necessarily feel so amazing if you didn't first face the intensity, the challenges of the practice, and stay with them, right?
The reward is because of the effort, because of staying with it. Now, I want to be very clear that I'm not talking about staying with something that is causing harm or pain, such as like an abusive relationship or anything like that, or a posture that is abusing your body. There's a very intense, very obvious line, but it seems very hidden sometimes between pain and discomfort. It's a very big line, but it tends to get blurry in our mind. The difference. Getting stronger is discomfort. Overstretching is pain. Being in a relationship might be uncomfortable. Being abused is pain. Knowing the difference is something that is important, or discerning, an important aspect of what I called earlier the buddhi, the intellect. Over time, we gain discernment, the ability to understand what is best for us. Bend the front knee. On the inhale to plank. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, lift the front body. Soften. Stretch the abdomen. And release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, down dog. One more round, right leg to the sky. Step right foot forward. Rise, high lunge, inhale. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle pose all the way. Hand to the inside of the foot, left hand to the sky. Press your right knee out. Hold, full breath in. Turn the belly, turn the chest. Two more, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. As you exhale, left hand to the hip. Right hand goes outside of the right foot. Look down and turn your back toes forward more, or your back heel outward, however you want to look at that. Now, as you look down with your chest, start to straighten through the right leg any degree. Here's a great time to use a block. Grab your second wind block if you have it, okay? Now, from your right sit bone, I'd like you to target your right heel, press from your buttocks into your right heel. You see how my body lifted as a result? Push, and now you can't see it, but my hand gets lighter away from the ground because my right buttocks activated. Okay, so not sinking into the pose anymore, but pushing down, I was exaggerating, pushing down so much that you get lighter in the pose. And then from that lightness, then you can turn your chest and reach the left hand up to the sky. Trikonasana. Two more breaths. One more breath. Bend the knee. Pivot the back knee to the ground. And heel toe the right foot to the right. Let's do twisted monkey pose. Stretch the thighs, and some of us are going to be doing Virasana. Left hand out to the left. Here's a good time to stretch the front hip a little too. Rotate the thigh out to the right a couple of times and just kind of prime the hip. Okay, bend the knee and reach for your foot. Let's enjoy a few breaths in. All right, release the thigh stretch. Move your hips up to the sky a little bit. And I suggest bringing your back foot in, and that's just gonna help turn your pelvis, make it easier for you to bring your elbows down to the ground for lizard pose. You could always bring your elbows to the blocks or stay lifted on your fingers. Just a few more breaths. One more breath.
Step back, down dog. Forward plank. Chaturanga. Hands and feet a little wider. Inhale, lift front body. Soften the chest. Stretch the abdomen long. Exhale, release. All fours, inhale. Tuck the toes, down dog. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. Push down, rise, high lunge. Open warrior two. Reverse, inhale. Right into side angle, hand to the inside of the left foot. Rotate your left knee out to the left, right hand to the sky. Try to find your left buttocks. Press through the left heel. That'll help turn your pelvis and turn your heart. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Right hand to the hip. Okay, back heel goes back or toes turn in, however it works for you. Left hand outside the foot. Look down with your heart and your head at the front foot and start to straighten through the front leg. Now, you can either be passive and sinking into this posture. I don't suggest that. I suggest you use your buttocks that we've been working on. There's a little sit bone, the base of your buttocks here, that your hamstrings and glutes attach to. You're gonna press the sit bone directionally towards your heel, down and forward, and you'll feel that your torso lifts up as a result, and the stretch sensation hopefully goes away in the hamstrings. That would be ideal, okay? Because you're not out of the stretch, right? You're still in the same pose, but the sensation of stretching goes away, which means your body no longer is freaking out that you're falling apart. Instead, it recognizes that it is in a safe place. Okay, right hand to the sky for Utthita Trikonasana. Two more breaths, staying with the front buttocks. One more breath. All right, bend the front knee, pivot the back knee to the ground, and left foot out to the left. Right hand over to the right first. Let's prime the left hip, awaken it a little bit, move side to side, trying to rotate the thigh bone out to the left. And with the right hand wide, turn the chest, reach back for a thigh stretch, reach for your back foot. Of course, if you can't grab the foot, then a strap is great around the foot as well. One thing about these thigh stretches, or any stretch for that matter, if you can find a way to activate the muscles that are stretching, that's called facilitated stretching. I went over that last time. The idea is there's something called the Golgi tendon organ, and that organ receives tension on the muscle and sends the signal of how much tension is on the muscle to the brain so that the brain can decide what to do with it. Then from the brain, it decides typically that if the muscle is both engaged and elongated, that it should let go, release some of the unconscious tension. So it sends a signal back down through the nervous system to the muscle and says, hey, release some of that tension. Now, if you're intentionally activating the muscle, then the muscle sort of, over the course of 8 seconds or whatever that loop is for our Golgi tendon organ to brain back to muscle, you'll see that you'll be able to bring your foot in tighter as a result of holding the engagement, okay? And release. That's in short what the benefits of facilitated stretching, but another big benefit of facilitated stretching is it keeps the muscles strong and more integral, so they're less likely to get injured in your day-to-day life. Bring the back knee forward a little bit and turn the back leg so the thigh bone goes out, the foot comes in towards your buttocks.
I usually stick my buttocks up here, like tailbone up to the sky. That's to increase range of motion. And bring the elbows down to the ground or onto the block, or stay on your fingers. So you might ask, well, how do I do a facilitated stretch here? It depends on where you feel the stretch. So for me, I feel it in a muscle called adductor magnus, which is like where the hamstrings are, okay? It runs along the inside and the back of the leg. Okay, the hamstrings and adductor magnus is where I feel it, in which case I got to figure out how to activate those muscles. One way to do that is squeeze the front knee in towards the shoulder. That's going to activate adductor magnus, at least some of the fibers of it. And the other one is to press the heel down, as we've been doing the whole class, and that's going to get the hamstrings and adductor magnus as well to activate. And at that point, my whole body starts shaking because the muscles are trying to activate in an elongated position. That requires a tremendous amount of power, effort. Tapas in that muscle, the rigor, the heat, the intensity. And we cultivate a mindset to embrace it. The way we do that is we recognize the benefits of it. We recognize that I'm getting stronger. I'm becoming more aware. Okay. Come on out of that. Come to a seated position of your choosing. So for me, that's going to be on a block. We'll just take a moment to stretch the shoulders. So interlace the hands. Place the hands on your block, on your head, on your block, and draw the elbows back, shoulder blades toward each other. Reach the hands up to the sky. Now, if you want to be in a seated cross-legged position, what I suggest is whatever leg you normally sit for meditation, have the other one forward for a moment while we're doing this, because you're going to have the other one forward for quite a period of time. So just do the awkward leg forward if you're cross-legged. If you're going to grab a chair, grab a chair. Okay, release the hands. One more shoulder stretch. You're going to take the hands behind your back, interlace the fingers, lift the shoulders up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, then try to reach the hands straight back behind you the best of your ability. I'll show you from the side angle for a moment. Okay, and release. So let's do our Dirga Pranayama. Dirga Pranayama, again, 3-part breath. The breath goes into the belly, then the ribs, then the collarbones, and then on the exhale, the collarbones deflate, the rib cage deflates, the belly goes back. Inhale, belly goes out, rib cage expands, collarbones lift. Exhale, collarbones, rib cage, belly. We're going to add what's called a kumbhakam. A kumbhaka is a breath retention, but I'd like you to think of it as a lingering, neither holding the breath nor moving the breath, but rather letting it be still. And it's in that stillness where the mind starts to dive inward, okay? And we'll be doing a very simple exercise for the mind today, and that is just to watch the body breathe. And if possible, move from physical breath to just observing the sensational experience of energy within this physical form. Okay, it's the very simple way to cultivate attention of the mind. And what you're going to notice, the rigor or the tapas of the practice, is that your thoughts and your emotions are going to consistently distract you as you're trying to attend or watch your body breathe, or watch the system or energy of your body with, let me say this, your body being energized by prana, the flow of energy within you. So very simply put, you can feel prana. There's a vibrancy. You feel awake. You feel sleepy. That's prana. All that's prana. You could feel a tingling underneath your skin. That's also prana. Okay. So energy within your system is different than an emotion, which is a feeling based on circumstances and whatnot. It's not a sensation based on energy. I hope that makes sense. There's a little bit of difference. Feelings tied to thoughts. Thoughts and emotions are going to interrupt your attention. And that's the rigor, that's the tapas. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm a thinker, I'm thinking too much, or I'm feeling too much, whatever, you just recognize thought or emotion and you bring your attention back to this moment, to the feeling of breath inside of you, or even deeper, the sensation of energy within you. Breath is more physical. Sensation of energy inside of you, that's the result of the breath. Okay, so let's do this together. Let's do Dirga Pranayama with Kumbhak. So that means at the top of the inhale, all the way when the shoulders are lifted, you're going to linger and pause in the stillness. And then exhale it all out. And then at the bottom of the exhale, you're going to linger and pause in the stillness. We'll do a few rounds together. Please close your eyes. And if your legs are crossed the awkward way, now's the time to switch it. We just worked through the physical layer of our body, deha. So let's just take a moment to adjust our seated posture, our asana. Tip the pelvis forward or move the sit bones back slightly so your pelvis is more upright on the block or on the blankets or on the chair. Take a breath in. Exhale it out. As your low back forms a gentle arch, your breath counteracts the low back. So the arch is pressing your forward more or less towards your belly, so that the weight is centered more a little bit towards the front of your pelvis. In contrast, the back of your heart is full, soft, and moving with breath. It is more rounded. Think of the center of your low back forward, and the center of your upper back, where behind your heart is, resting back like into an imaginary wall. Gently lift the shoulders ever so slightly up and guide them back so that the shoulders can rest down the back of your rib cage. Not too much effort, just enough to keep the collarbones wide and open. And lift the top of the skull up and bring your head to rest directly atop of your pelvis. Now notice the distance between the base of your pelvic floor all the way up through your skull. Begin a gentle whisper of Ujjayi breath through the nose. Inhale. Exhale. Let's begin Dirga Pranayama. First, no retentions, just breathing. So inhale, belly goes out. Rib cage goes out to the sides. Collarbones lift up, gentle. Exhale, the shoulders and collarbones soften back down. Rib cage relaxes. Belly draws back towards the spine. Another practice round like that. Inhale, the belly goes out slowly. The rib cage expands out to the sides. The shoulders rise at the last part of the breath. Very little effort there, just let that shoulders do their thing. Exhale, shoulders relax, ribs relax, belly draws back. One more round. The belly goes out as the breath comes in. The ribs expand. And when they're out of room, the shoulders lift. On the exhale, the shoulders release. The ribs release. The belly releases. Now we add a kumbhak, a lingering moment at the top and the bottom. So inhale, belly goes out. Rib cage expands. Shoulders gently lift. Linger without holding your throat muscles, just be. Exhale through the nose. Shoulders, ribs, belly. Linger at the bottom in the stillness. No effort. Inhale. Belly, ribs, shoulders. No clenching of the throat, just stillness. Exhale, shoulders, ribs, belly. Linger in the stillness. Inhale, belly, ribs, shoulders. Linger in the stillness. This is where samadhi, the experience of oneness, exists, in the nothing. Exhale, shoulders, ribs, belly. Linger. And breathe in. Breathe out. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Try to observe any subtle, enjoyable sensations, be it a gentle tingling in the palms or in the back of the neck or the head. Or just an overall feeling of well-being. This is prana, the energy body, our third layer deep. Now let's train the mind to stay inward. First, by observing what you're thinking right now. You may have said nothing. But if you found a thought or an emotion, label it as thought or emotion And the tapas is to bring the mind back to observing. Observe either the breath moving in and out of your body without effort now, so without control, let it happen. Or try to fixate on the sensation of energy within you, either in the palms, the back of the head, the third eye, whatever's highlighted. Keep your mind in that sensation. The tapas is bringing the mind back into the pool of awareness. Thought arises. Label it. And come back to observation. Emotion arises. Label it. And gently guide your mind back to observing prana flowing through your system. If a thought rises, acknowledge it. Just come back. Okay, come back to your breath. Gentle whisper of Ujjayi, so you can feel the physicality of your breath. Breathe through the mind. Start to sense your fingers and toes. Awaken your fingers and toes and wrists. Rub your palms together, create heat. Place the heat of your palms over your eyes and breathe into them. Coming back to this body. Again, create some heat. Place the hands over the heart. Breathe into them. One more time. Hands over the belly and breathe into them. Down into the belly. Use your hands to massage the legs. So you can get down through your calves to your feet. Give them a little touch, a little wiggle. Let's place the hands over the heart or in front of the heart. And we take a moment, take a breath. Acknowledge what you've created from your practice. Bowing inward. In honor of these 3 practices of asana, pranayama, meditation that have been passed down through the many yogis that come before us. With gratitude, we bow in. Okay, thank you all so very much for your efforts. Thank you for your tapas, for staying in the rigor of whether it was physical for you, whether it was the pranayama, whether it was the meditation. We all experience rigor on different levels, and nobody's challenge is better or worse than another's. So wherever it came out for you, you just recognize that that's part of your sadhana, your practice, your life's, your yogic life's path. To acknowledge that today you were faced with challenges in this arena, yet you stepped in and you stayed in, right? And that is the ultimate, is just to step in and stay in and to have compassion for the challenges you are facing. You know, not to meet them head on with fists, but to recognize that this is hard, even if it should be simple. And sometimes it's easy, and sometimes the meditation is joyful and light and free, and other times it's not. Sometimes the physical practice feels easy, we feel strong, we feel flexible, and other times we don't. Sometimes breathing feels good, it feels nice, it's either rejuvenating or relaxing or whatever it is that we need, and sometimes it feels like panic. So regardless of the practice, we all face tapas, we all face the intensity. So I want to thank you all for stepping into that intensity. Thank you for practicing today, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Just going to check out the chat, say hello, say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, Petra, I will be adding Shavasana later on in the practices when we do a bit more rigorous asana, and you'll expect some of the practices will have Shavasana. Spanish tapas. So funny. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Betty. Nice to see you all. Thanks, Nina.